excited to have you join us for today's webinar, How to Train People to Perform Better in the Cloud. My name is Tia Gamble. Many of you know, as I've been the one sending you all these emails. So it's lovely to finally have you join us today. So, folks, it's my pleasure to introduce our speakers for today's topic, How to Train People to Perform Better in the Cloud. We have a duo of strategic account executives, Christine Sue and James Wilson III. Also joining us, we have our sales engineer associate, Taylor Thompson. I want to first thank you all for sharing your time and your expertise with us. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start a poll. Let's see. Alrighty, so today, we would love to know why you're interested in upskilling or reskilling your team. Let us know. So I'm going to close that out and let's share. So we're here for career advancement and some development. That's great for us to know. I'm sure our experts will be able to go further into details on why it's important for you to be here. So without further ado, the question I think that we should start off with, starting off broad, who is this training for? What is this topic about? And who would be most interested in it? So I'm going to actually throw this question to James.
Thank you, Tia. I appreciate that. I think the poll might still be up. If you could close that out real quick, please. I appreciate that. Yes, so thank you and welcome again those joining us today. Really who this is intended for, cloud team leaders, those in workforce development. That's become increasingly clear to us. They're involved in skilling those that are traditionally in non-technical roles over into technical areas of the business. Usually this is at the beginner or associate level. So also anyone that's involved in reskilling initiatives or these larger workforce transformations, if you're a learner with certification initiatives, you're in the right place. Those that either have migrated to the cloud or are recent adopters of the cloud. If you're an HR leader, if you're looking to provide effective tools for attracting and retaining talent, you're at the right spot. Again, those involved with learning and development, especially if you're in the IT or tech space. But also, if you're an individual learner here today, don't worry, this training is applicable to you as well. If you're tasked with owning the technical skill sets for either yourself or a team of people, then you'll get a lot out of today's webinar.
Great, perfect. So let's talk high up, the market. So what are we seeing in the market? What is the current landscape? Christine, start this one off. Talk to us.
Thank you, Tia. We know the skills gap is widening, and it's due to the rapid pace at which technology is changing. And as a result, we're finding that technical workers are really hard to come by these days, and e-learning just isn't closing the skills gap. We're seeing a shift from what was training and skills development in the workforce to that of continuous learning culture, where organizations are upskilling and reskilling their employees from within and building paths of long-lasting knowledge. By leveraging our skills readiness solution to test proficiency, target skills gaps, and get staff ready for projects and promotions, this helps our customers create more internal mobility, greater staff retention, and ultimately more value from the cloud by upskilling on our platform.
Exactly right. I'm seeing that as well. These companies, they're really looking to create that long-lasting institutional knowledge where they can skill internally and get a deeper bench of talent from within their own companies. Two things that they're telling me: one, this protects against the revolving door of talent that we've seen lately in the industry by creating, and then the second one, creating a deeper foundation of that knowledge from within their particular companies. Those that have been at a company for 10, 15 years to, pretty much get the information that they have and that they've held within and preserve that knowledge that would just traditionally leave when they leave the business. So we're really seeing that companies are saying, we want this knowledge to stay here with us. And when somebody leaves or, goes to a different company, we want to be able to preserve their knowledge and talent with our company.
Great, great. So knowledge, training. So what's important in terms of that? What's important in terms of training and knowledge? What is resonating with our current clients? Back to you, James.
Yeah, two things that stick out to me are job roles and training into specific job areas, whether that be in solutions architect or engineering, DevOps. They're looking to really create a track where they train their people on a specific job role. And then the other thing is hands-on labs. This has become increasingly clear to us that people want the validation checks. They want to be able to prove knowledge out, not just sit and consume, video for an hour or two. They want to, see that they're learning and that they're validating that knowledge through getting hands-on and getting that experience.
Great, great. What about
We're
you,
also
Christine?
Yeah, we're also seeing personalized learning is a big ask. Companies and institutions that aren't seeing success with upskilling and reskilling are doing it the old school way of training. So leaders think that their employees have this gap, put them through a class, and then call it a day. It's not working anymore because you're not really pinpointing who needs what, and you're also not personalizing the learning experience. So instead, what we recommend is to create a learning culture that is agile and nimble and provides different formats for people to be able to learn at their own pace. Our customers are using our customized labs and assessments to benchmark and understand their employee skills, what they have, and what they still need. The best way to learn is through personalized learning paths, career paths, job roles, and hands-on lab experiences that can be customized to your unique tech stack.
Yeah, and I just want to add in just to kind of tease towards what we're going to see towards the end of the demo today. We're hearing a lot about personalized learning, tailored training plans, and things like that. And so I'm really excited to show some new features that are coming in the next couple of months that are really going to make this more efficient and more scalable for your organization when it comes to customization.
Lovely, lovely. If I remember correctly, Christine, you were also mentioning in a previous conversation about some investments on retention purposes. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly, Tia. We're just seeing that you really need to invest in your people. You need to have the right tools and technology and coaching and mentorship in place. You need to train for new skills and maintain the knowledge path and skills that have worked for a really long time. And lastly, we also see individuals need to be responsible for their own skills development. So being able to provide them resources, even outside the organization or institution.
Okay, lovely. I'm loving this accountability, responsibility, and really growth that we've started to talk about. So with that, people may say we're in a new digital era. We're moving into the cloud. We're moving away from more in-your-face standard hard drives and so forth. So what do these processes look like at a new digital age when we're talking about training and knowledge? James, I think you know a lot about this one.
Well, I think Christine actually hit the nail on the head with this. We're starting to see this transform into a more continuous learning process where we see people using self-directed learning platforms like Cloud Academy, but also blending that with a learning path that includes immersion days, game days, instructor-led trainings, and then back to those self-directed learning paths where they're actually validating that new knowledge that they've gained with hands-on experience.
Okay, great. So different ways of learning, different pathways, great stuff. But sometimes there's some barriers or some obstacles that come up with that. And this is going to be open to the panelists. Then, again, what are the barriers? What are the constraints in the market that you guys are hearing from effective upskilling? Sorry, Taylor. Let's go ahead and start with you.
So a lot of barriers come into play, and one specifically that comes into mind is budgeting time for these learnings, especially when they're online. I graduated in the beginning of the COVID era when all in-person classes flipped to online classes. And it was really hard to start budgeting and finding time for these now 2-hour lectures during the day when you had 4 or 5 other lectures as well in different coursework and exams when you're trying to graduate college to budget for. And so we at Cloud Academy actually took all of our courses and broke them down into micro learning sessions. So what these are bite-sized pieces of our course videos that are 5, 6, some are 10 minutes long, that really help the learners adopt learning into their everyday lives, right? Because I think I speak for everyone when I say it's so much easier to budget for 5 to 10 minutes at a time for these videos and these learnings, whether you're commuting or, you know, you have a meeting that ended a bit early and you have some like 5 minutes to kind of just watch a quick video. It's much easier to adopt this everyday learning into your lives when it's more attainable through these bite-sized pieces. So I really, really appreciate that, those micro-learning sessions.
Yeah, for me, I think it would be, you know, either effective hands-on labs and sandbox environments that just hadn't been available in the past, or if they did exist, they didn't have any type of validation steps or validation checks. So yeah, the ability to pare down training into daily, weekly learning opportunities, but also working in environments that closely mimic the customer's production environment.
Exactly. And just like you said, validation checks, James, and with our analytics tool, our customers can easily demonstrate real ROI of our platform and prove value to their stakeholders and C-suite, not just with consumption metrics, but also report on skills development and growth rate over time.
Nice. All right, so we had obstacles, we had barriers, we had constraints. Like, let's move more into what the solutions are. You know, what are some of the emerging tech evolving? Sorry, tech is evolving very quickly, so my thought process. Sorry about that. But what are the best way for our employers to, you know, just keep up, you know, stay competitive, stay ahead of the competition overall, you know, and just provide the best learning opportunities for their teams?
Yeah, and I think that gets to the heart of why we're here today, you know, really learning effective ways to train your people to perform better in the cloud, as the title states. And Taylor's actually going to walk us through how current clients are telling us they're using Cloud Academy to actually meet this challenge.
Yeah, so I guess this is the perfect time for a little 10-minute demo. Just a quick call out. This is going to be a brisk walk through our platform. I will slow it down a bit just because we have some more time, but this is just a peek at what our platform does. I'm going to actually start in the end user side of things. I'm going to show you the learner's journey. And then I'm also going to take us over to the admin side and see how the learner's journey is going to affect our analytics skill profiles for our admins and managers. And then I will wrap up how we can fully customize this platform to better fit our organizations. And then at the end of that, we will get a sneak peek at future features, which I'm really excited about. So let's begin the quick walk through the demo. What we're looking at here right now is the end user dashboard. I'm actually going to skip over this. I'm going to pull it back up in a different portion where it's going to make a little bit more sense what we're seeing. I'm going to go ahead and click on our picture here and come into the individual skill profile. Now, this is where our end users are going to start to take their learning journey and their careers into their own hands. You're going to see over here my certifications. This is a certification wallet. So if they have any existing certifications already, they can upload it into our wallet and add it to their LinkedIn profile directly from here. They can check out the different teams that they've been assigned to on the platform. But let's take this one step further and click View All Skills. Now this is going to give us, or the end user, a comprehensive view of how their skills are growing and changing over time, as well as any recent activities that they've last done that have impacted their skill growth rate. What I mean by skill growth rate is you're going to see it over here on the left, this graph. This is where they can track specific skills necessary for their job that they want to make sure they're keeping tabs on and they're growing. They can also come down the page to a complete inventory of skills that they've interacted with on the platform. We can start to break it down to really understand where these skills are that we're interacting with, as well as see how we stack up against the greater Cloud Academy user base. Now, if they have additional skills that they want to keep tabs on, they can star them over here on the right and filter down to show starred only to really focus on those skills. I want to take a minute to pause here to really emphasize how important this skill profile is, because like I said, it's really allowing our end users to take their careers into their own hands. If they have, let's say, a promotion that's coming up that they really, really want, and to prove that they're ready for it, they can make sure that they're tracking those necessary skills for that promotion. So whenever it comes time to ask for it, they're able to prove that they've done the necessary work and have gained the necessary skills ready for that promotion. Or let's just say they did just get that really big promotion. It's really exciting. And they want to just make sure they're tracking their skills and they're honing in on those skills that are necessary for those more advanced projects. This is exactly where they can do that. Now, like I said, I'm going to now bring us back into the admin side of things because operationally what gets us here is the organization of users, the assigning of baseline assessments, and the assigning of targeted training plans. So let's go ahead and click on the building icon where we're going to fall into the organization tab once it loads up. Perfect. So this is simply where we are going to organize our users into the appropriate teams or virtual classrooms. And really the needs of the organization is going to determine this approach. The most important takeaway from this organization tab is that this is where we're going to be able to silo data. What I mean by that is that admins on the platform are all seeing, all knowing, while we're going to have managers of teams who will only have access to their direct reports, insights, and results. And then we have individual members of the platform who will only have access to their own personal results and insights. So once once our users are all organized into their appropriate classrooms, we're going to kick things off with a baseline assessment. Now, we kind of always say here at Cloud Academy that it's really hard to understand where you're going if you don't know where you're starting from, and that's what baseline assessments help solve. You're going to have two different assessments you can utilize either alone or you can add them together to create one assessment. The first being is a text-based exam, which are multiple choice questions. And you're going to notice they're going to range in duration. So we really like to allow the admins and managers to determine the depth or breadth of the assessments that they're giving to their end users. If I scroll down the page really quickly, you're going to notice we have a very, very large bank of assessments to choose from. And this is because we actually added our pre-hire motion into our baseline assessments earlier in 2022. Now, the second type of assessment is a lab challenge, and we will get much deeper into labs later on in the demo, but a lab challenge here at Cloud Academy essentially is a real-world environment, a real-world scenario in a live environment where we break something and have the end user come in and try to fix it with the knowledge they have today. And this really helps you start to understand what your users know with a more unguided approach. All right, so our end users took all their assessments. As admins and managers, you are going to get some reports around these assessments. You're going to get a skills map, and this points to the strengths of the organization today. But more importantly, and why most of our customers come to us, is you're going to get your skill gaps. These are going to be areas where you are going to want to focus on upskilling your users, and we can totally break these skill gaps down to be a bit more granular to understand where they lie. And this is a wonderful time to bring in one of our CSMs or our content architects, where we can start tailoring training plans to better fit your skill needs, as well as those time restraints around those skill needs. Now, a quick call out, because it is unique to Cloud Academy, is we are going to provide you with the individual assessment score. What this is going to allow you to do is to identify outliers. So if someone scores very high on one of these baseline assessments, we know we can put more advanced material in front of them. Oppositely, if they score more low, we know we need to put them on a more fundamental path. All right, so we understand where our skill gaps lie. Now we can better attack those more head on, and we're going to do that through the assigning of training plans. You're going to hear me say training plans and learning paths a lot today. So just think of training plans as just the mechanism to assign content to our end users. Now you're able to choose from a variety of out-of-the-box training plans that we have already built out for you today, or like we've been saying this entire time, you can totally customize any of these with one of our lovely CSMs or one of our great content architects to really better fit your needs. What's really special about these training plans and what I really appreciate is that we're able to stack and sequence them on top of each other. When we stack and sequence these on top of each other, this is going to allow us to have more predictable upskilling within the organization. What I mean by that is that you're always going to understand when your users are within their learning journey. So you're going to understand where they are 3, 6, 9, 12 months. So you can better start to plan projects and future planning through that. These training plans, you're able to set internal expectations, any deadlines that you need them to be finished up by, as well as track the overall progress of these training plans as our end users are working through them. Now you're able to track against the overall progress of the training plan, or you can even track against that due date that we had set for them. As we can see, a couple users are falling behind. We know life happens. We have something called nudges here at Cloud Academy. You can enable automatic nudges, which is allowing Cloud Academy to send a maximum of 3 nudges. Those are emails per individual that's falling behind. And it's just a reminder to get back on the platform, continue their learning. or you're absolutely able to come in and send manual nudges. And this is where you can start to tailor your message to each individual end user if you wish to do so. So as our end users are working through these training plans that we've stacked and sequenced them, it is going to lead to a pretty powerful consumption metric, and that's going to live within our analytics tab. This is going to allow key stakeholders to come in and see how much content is being consumed over time, as well as who's consuming the most content. Now we're able to break this down by different learning activities. So I always like to bring up a certification example, because our final exams of these certification paths are going to mirror the real world exam. So if you have a certification initiative going on at your company, you can come into the analytics tab and see who's even attempted that final exam of that certification, but more importantly, their last score of that exam. So say you're giving out vouchers, you want them to prove that they are going to pass this exam, you can come in and see their last score and be more comfortable giving that voucher. Or let's say you're not doing a certification initiative, but you need them to possess the skills necessary for that certification for other projects at your company, you can come in and see who possesses those skills and who would be best to put on that project. Ooh, I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute. Everyone's so good. Now, I want to take us back into the end user side of things, where this dashboard might make a little bit more sense. This is where all of that training and those training plans will live that we've assigned for them. They're also able to self-assign any other content that they're interested in learning themselves, as well as keep themselves accountable by adding different weekly reminders to their calendar to make sure that they're staying on top of their training. Another area where our end users experience really comes to life is within our content library. Now, our content library is fully public facing, so I always invite everyone to come take a look at the type of content that we have here at Cloud Academy, either after this webinar, after you watch the recording, any of your free time. Please feel free to come check it out, as well as come check out our public facing content roadmap. We really believe in transparency here at Cloud Academy. We want to let you know what's coming in the pipeline. Let us do the market trend research. We'll take that off of your plate, but we also do take recommendations from our clients. So if we're hearing a lot about the same topic, we're going to put that on our content roadmap. And you can break this down by different cloud providers or different emerging tech topics as well. But let's move back into the content library. We're going to be able to organize this in a couple different ways. Up top left is all custom content that you've created on the platform, which I'll show you how we're going to do that in just a little bit. Down below is different fundamental paths under Get Started, and then we can organize it by those different cloud platforms. Any pre-built out job role paths that we have here at Cloud Academy. Like I was saying before, if you have those certification initiatives, these are those different certification initiative paths. That was a tongue twister. And then don't let our name fool you. We do offer a ton of other emerging tech topics here at Cloud Academy. Now, I want to take our attention to the middle of the screen. Here are our different labs. So we actually have 4. There's one unlisted, but our lab challenges is what we are utilizing in a baseline assessment manner. These are those fully unguided experiences. Our hands-on labs are going to be those fully guided step-by-step instruction labs. You can kind of think of it like bowling with the bumpers on. Then we have our lab playgrounds. These are those sandbox environments. Typically, we see more intermediate to advanced users utilizing the lab playgrounds. They can test out skills that they've learned, play around with them without fear of breaking their own live production environments. Now, when we think of our courses, labs, oh, sorry, I totally forgot about the 4th one that I mentioned. Our 4th one is a custom lab, and that is going to mirror your tech stack. Sorry about that. I'm alluding to it. I'm not even going to explain it. But anyway, so we look at our courses, labs, quizzes, and exams as learning activities. And whenever we put all of our learning activities on a given topic in stepwise order, we're going to create a learning path. So to quickly just show you what one of these would look like, I'm going to pop open the Solutions Architect. You're going to get a couple things right away. You're going to get the difficulty level, the average duration of this learning path, the description, intended audience, and the learning objectives of it. Now, coming down the page, you're going to see that we do have those courses, labs, exams. Like I was alluding to earlier, our courses are broken down into micro-learning sessions. So again, this is going to allow the learner to adopt the learning into their everyday lives. Again, it's so much easier to budget for these 4-minute classes than it is to budget for 2.5 hours out of our day. We have a couple different types of exams. We're going to have knowledge checks, and then we are going to have final exams of the learning paths. Now, because this is a certification learning path, the final exam of this path will mirror that real world exam. And that is also another step of validation here at Cloud Academy. But what I want to show you all is a validation step in terms of labs, because our labs are really popular here at Cloud Academy. We get asked about them all the time, and they're one of my favorite things to demo. So just let me start up the lab as the environment is open. So you're going to notice a couple different things about our labs. The first being is that you are going to notice that they are fully text-based. And what this allows for us to do is to conduct seamless updates. We really pride ourselves on our content team. They spend about 25% of their time updating our current content, making sure it's all up to date for you all as you're taking your journey through learning on our platform. The next being is that we are going to provide unlimited live consumption of these labs. So you can kind of think of it like an all-you-can-eat buffet of lab consumption. You're never going to get a surprise bill in the mail from any cloud vendor for how much time you spend on labs on our platform. And finally is that we actually bridge the gap between the management console and the Cloud Academy platform, which allows us to conduct these validation checks. Again, this is going to be leading into our skill profiles. So we're going to do the validation check. It's going to turn up red because I didn't do anything in the management console or the lab. If I try to hit next step, it's going to give me a warning that I didn't fix this validation step. Now, if I go ahead and submit this lab as is, my skills in Amazon EC2 is going to decrease. But if I go back and fix it and complete all the other necessary validation steps, it will increase on my skill profiles. I'm going to go ahead and end this lab and then wrap things up with customization. So customization is going to live in the admin side of house things again, and it's going to be within our content engine. Now, a lot of organizations find our content engine extremely useful because we can start to add in organization-specific custom resources. So this is things that are solely specific to your company that you want your end users learning and being tested on. So we can upload them as custom resources. We can form questions around those custom resources, put those questions into exams to test that validation that they're learning about these custom resources and skills. And then we can put those exams into customized learning paths. So to quickly show you how we can customize one of these learning paths, we are going to be able to start from scratch, or if you really like one of our other learning paths on the platform and you just want to clone it and tweak it a little bit, we can absolutely do that. So let's start from choosing one of our learning paths. I'm going to choose a solutions architect just because there's a lot of content for us to manipulate. Going to add a test title and then hit next. Now this is where we can fully customize this learning path. So say you just really want to trim the fat. You don't think you need to spend 49 hours of your end users' time. You just want them focusing on key concepts. We can take all of this content out, and then we can take it a step further by clicking add steps, uploading any of those custom resources that you had built out that you want your end users to be tested on. Any additional courses that you think are relevant to this learning path, any other exams, extra validation steps, or any other hands-on labs that you want to add in. And again, you can also customize our hands-on labs. So I'm going to complete the selection, and now it's just a simple drag and drop to make sure that it all logically makes sense. It's in stepwise order. We think it all looks great. We're going to hit save, and now we're going to see all those different skills that our end users are going to be tested on and validated on within this learning path. And if you had any custom skills built out because of that custom resource, they will also populate here. But yeah, wow, I think I just spoke quicker than I ever have before. That is a very, very brisk walk of this platform. Feel free to reach out to us if you want a deeper, slower walkthrough of this platform. I know I just threw a lot at everyone just now, but that is current state. That is currently what you're able to get with Cloud Academy with those validations and within our skill profiles. This is where you are going to get that comprehensive view of where your organization stands today, currently, and this is where we are going to see how our skills are changing and growing over time on this platform today through those training plans that we've assigned, any of those learning paths that we customized. We're able to break it down to be a bit more granular, which I really, really appreciate, to really get a ground view of what's going on at our organization today. You can see exactly where they stand, or maybe where they don't stand today just yet, so you can start future planning for your organization. You may have noticed that our skill growth rate has changed with us as we broke this down, as well as our top users and top teams has changed with us. Now, Christine mentioned earlier that this is a really great time for ROI, to really start proving that your knowledge is growing and changing over time on the Cloud Academy platform. And you can start to understand what those best teams are for certain projects, or even individual users as more mentors. Say someone's a bit newer, they need someone to tap on the shoulder about certain skills, they can find that here. So this is current state, like I said. Let's talk about future state. So let's move into some new features that are coming that I'm really excited about. And I also invite my other panelists to kind of interrupt me and join me as we start to talk about these. So we're really excited to start talking about features of the platform that are coming that are going to allow for more automation, for a more programmatic way of assigning content that's relevant, scalable, and customizable. We're going to start doing that by defining different career paths. So these career paths are going to offer planned success and career transparency. Now, this is a really big game changer when it comes to upskilling and reskilling your workforce to fill those key roles aligned to your business. You're absolutely able to customize any of these job roles for different competency levels, different additional skills that you want added in, whatever you wish. You can absolutely customize it to better fit your organization and the career paths that you already have. This is also really going to help improve talent attraction and retention, because our career paths are going to show staff that they do have a future within your organization and they have a clear path to success there. James, Christine, any thoughts?
I mean, for me, this really falls into the discussion around workforce transformation needs, with companies coming and saying we need to skill non-traditional tech workers into technical roles. Defining these career paths for them has been a key hit for our current, talking points for our future state of the programs.
Right. Right. Yeah, well, I think that's a great transition into programs, right? So now we're going to be able to align programs to those career paths that we built out. So you can kind of think of programs as training plans 2.0. They're a more automated way of assigning training. So as our end users are onboarded onto the platform and assigned or organized into those different career paths, they will automatically be enrolled in these programs that we have built out for them and customize them to fit that career path. So you're going to be able to deliver training on an ongoing targeted basis according to any of your objectives. So say it's onboarding, upskilling, certification, or any other goals, we're able to formulate programs around those. Our programs are also really going to help improve staff engagement and save training time by providing just right content and practice for the skills staff need and not stuff that they already know. Because just another little bit of a preview, we will have smart assessments attached to these. So end users can take these smart assessments and will be aligned to content that fits where they are now and where they need to go, and not have to go through content that they've already mastered. But yeah, any thoughts on programs? I'm super excited for programs. I think this might be my favorite thing, of just automation in a more programmatic way, hence the name programs, and really saving time on assigning training and really getting granular about the customization for different careers.
And also the personalization, Taylor, I was thinking along the lines of really being specific and personalizing these learning paths specific to the individual or the teams.
Right, agreed.
Yeah, I'm probably most excited about this one as well. For example, yesterday I was just on a call with a large service integration company, and they're like, we need a program in place that would essentially train our application engineers on these specific tasks geared towards just this type of a program. And I'm glad to say that in the future we'll be able to, in just a few short months, be able to offer that to them.
Right. Me too. I'm excited for these. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up with everything that I had to show everyone. And just really want to start or keep emphasizing that employees are 95% more likely to stay with a company when their company invests in them. So retention is key to really winning the talent issues in the market, and reskilling is just as important as upskilling. So this continuous learning model is super important when it comes to talent retention and attraction. So, but yeah, that's all I had for you guys.
Great, great. Thank you all for, again, sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and even teasing some of the exciting features that are coming up. I know as a learner myself, sometimes it's annoying when I have to go through a program and I know a little bit of this and I know a little bit of that. So it'd be great having those features where it's just automated and we're able to assess where someone is actually at and only give them that information so they are excited that they're learning something new and not feeling like they're having to review things they know before they get to the exciting stuff. So that for me is pretty exciting myself. So, all right. Well, again, thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate you being here, part of this discussion and listening to some of the things that are happening in the industry and how we think about it and how we solve those and how you can even show it to you on the platform and even our features that are going to be coming in the future. So we thank you all for your time today. Again, thank you to our amazing panelists of experts. I really appreciate your time and your expertise. At this point, this concludes the webinar. We hope you all have a wonderful day, evening. We know everyone's in a different time zone, but we appreciate all being here and we hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.